I've been using all of these AI tools for nearly 18 months now, and I've spent a good few hours watching videos and taking courses in prompt engineering. There's actually a great book from Google that's all about how to write effective prompts. It's over 100 pages long, and don't worry, you don't need to read it. I'm going to break down how to engineer or simply write a prompt for GPT or Claude or Gemini right now. Basically, a great prompt comprises not one but 4 different parts. And chances are you've seen these in action if you've studied how other creators are writing their prompts. So the first part of the prompt is the persona. And this is where you tell GPT or Gemini or Claude who it is. So, hey ChatGPT, you are a master storyteller. Or, hey ChatGPT, you are a copywriter. Or, hey Claude, you are Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or whoever it is. And this kind of puts the AI tool in a certain mindset that will tailor the output. And that brings me to the second part of a prompt. So here you're going to detail what exactly you want the AI tool to do. You're going to describe the task in a few key sentences. I'll give you some examples in a few moments. But one could be, I need you to create 10 different headlines for my latest YouTube video. Then you're going to provide some context to the AI tool. So you're going to explain what it is that you're trying to do and some of the problems that you've had. So for example, I want you to write 10 different titles for my next YouTube video because I want to educate my audience of creators and potentially go viral. Now, when you're providing context, it's also helpful to either upload training data or at least to paste in some examples of what you think an ideal output should look like. So to return to my previous example, if I had a list of 10 YouTube video titles that I liked, I could paste them directly into GPT or Gemini. The fourth part of the prompt relates to the format. So basically, what do you want the output to look like? If, for example, it's generating content that you're going to use for your email or on your website, do you want it to format it as HTML or Markdown or rich text? Or do you want it to be something that you can copy and paste or something that you can rework and edit? Now, if that's confusing, don't worry, because I'm going to give you some examples of these 4 parts of a great prompt in action. So here's the first example. Let's say I'm working as a content writer for a fitness brand who's about to launch some new products, and they want me to come up with some content ideas. So here's what my prompt could look like. First up, persona. I am a freelance content writer for a fitness brand, so I've told ChatGPT exactly who I am. I could say or I could say you are a freelance content writer for a fitness brand. It doesn't really matter, the results should be the same. Next up, I've given a little bit of context. I've said that the brand is launching a new line of eco-friendly workout gear and wants to use storytelling for its environmentally conscious customers. So I found with the context, go into a little bit of detail with 1, 2 or 3 sentences that explains what you're trying to do. And then I'm going to describe the task that I have for GPT. So I want you to draft an outline for a long form article that tells the brand's story, showcases its features and includes a clear call to action. And in the final part of this prompt, I've detailed the format. So I've asked it to provide a bullet point outline with headings, subheadings, and key points to cover. I headed over to ChatGPT and I pasted in this prompt. And I also asked it to output it in Canvas mode. I have another video on the channel where I show you how Canvas mode works, and also to put it in a table. Personally, I find it's easier to review content like this when it's in a table. So here we have a nice little outline that I could use for my long form article. It covers the introduction, the problem, the solution, the brand story, all about the product, customers, and it has a clear call to action. And I could use this outline to go ahead and write the article or to commission it to someone else. And clearly that's a lot more useful than simply saying, write me an article about our new products. Here's the second example. Let's say I was working as a copywriter for a fintech in the SaaS industry. And fun fact, I actually did work as a copywriter for a fintech in the SaaS industry a few years ago. Anyway, the persona that I'm going to use for this prompt basically describes what I'm doing and what we sell, which was accounting software. Now I'm going to provide a bit of context for ChatGPT. So our goal this quarter is to improve organic search traffic from Google for key industry terms and get more leads. And then I'm going to give or describe in detail the task for ChatGPT. I want you to come up with 15 different blog topics. So that would probably be a blog post a week that we can publish, which are optimized for SEO and that are aimed at mid-sized businesses in our niche or industry. And I've gone a bit more specific and I've told ChatGPT to focus on top of the funnel content. And then in the fourth part of the prompt, I've described the ideal format. So I want ChatGPT to list each blog topic with a suggested title, keyword, and a one-sentence description of the content. So here's what the output looks like. On the left-hand side, I have 15 different titles that I can quickly scan through. In the middle column, I have 15 different keywords. Now, clearly, I'd need to validate these keywords with my keyword research tool. And on the right-hand side, I have a description of each one of these blog posts. Now, I'd basically start to iterate this output. So I might, for example, upload headlines from some of our most popular blog posts on the site, so ChatGPT could see our writing style. Then I could upload a spreadsheet full of keywords that we're going after. And I could also ask ChatGPT to add a fourth column that breaks down with bullet points the key sections in each one of these blog posts. So I got this output in canvas mode and I pasted in that prompt into the left-hand sidebar. And ChatGPT reworked the entire output to provide a bullet point outline for each one of these blog posts. Here's the takeaway. When you're writing a prompt for GPT or some other AI tool, start with the 4 essential parts of a good prompt: the persona, the task, the context, and the format. And then you can iterate either the prompt or you can provide additional prompts till you get something that you're happy with. Now, there are a few other things that you can do to improve the quality of your prompts and the outputs. Sometimes I'll take a prompt that I've either written myself or a prompt that I've been using in ChatGPT and I'll head over to another AI tool like Claude. Claude is actually a tool I use quite a lot these days and have some other videos on the channel where I explain why. And I'll tell Claude you're a prompt engineer and I'll ask it to improve the prompt, or I'll ask it what's wrong with the prompt. And in this case, it said I could provide more context about the audience and my challenges, I could define my SEO goals, and it's going to give me a more structured output. And it's done this, and it's provided this output handily in a version that I can quickly copy. So I headed over to ChatGPT, I pasted in that prompt, and now you can see the table is a lot more detailed. So I have a proposed title, I have a primary target keyword and secondary keywords. Now again, it would be more helpful if I actually uploaded a spreadsheet full of my keywords to either tool. It's categorized each post by user intent, and that can be quite useful if I'm presenting this to other people. It's provided the key talking points, it has my call to actions, which could be useful if I'm briefing this to another freelance writer. And ChatGPT has also suggested how long it would take for me to get value from this piece of content. Arguably, that's probably a little bit redundant, but this is more useful than the original output that I got from ChatGPT. The next way to improve the quality of your prompts is to actually ask ChatGPT or the AI tool what it thinks about the prompt and how you can improve it. So I've simply pasted in that version I got from Claude and I've asked it, do you have any questions about this particular prompt? And ChatGPT wants to know about the source for my keywords. And I thought that was a particularly good question because I hadn't actually provided a source for my keywords. It wants to know about competitor content, alternative posts, seasonality, SERP analysis, priority topics, and examples of tones. Now, I wouldn't necessarily answer all of these questions, but the tone example I thought was particularly relevant. Because if I'm writing in the fintech industry or if I'm writing B2B content, I may want to adopt a more formal tone than if I'm writing for my personal blog. And I may want to upload some writing examples that ChatGPT could learn from and that it could also analyze before generating its output. Sometimes if I'm not getting the results I want from GPT, I'll take that large task and break it down into smaller tasks. So rather than trying to get an entire content plan with 1 or 2 prompts, perhaps I just focus on a single part of the plan. Like, for example, the headlines. So in this case, I'm going to tell ChatGPT it's a senior copywriter in the B2B SaaS industry, and for this task, I want it to just focus on headlines. And then I'll give some specifications and details about the ideal format and output. Because this is a subtask, I'm going to upload some training data. So I'm going to click on Attach Files, and I'm going to find a swipe file on my computer that's full of headlines that I think could potentially work. Now, based on the 4-part prompt that I used and the training data, ChatGPT is starting to output 15 different headlines that I could potentially use. And again, I could iterate this further and I'd probably improve the format by asking it to put them into a table and so on. But as you can see, sometimes picking a subtask works better than trying to do everything at once. The next time you're inside of ChatGPT or another AI tool, remember the 4 parts of a good prompt. Persona. Have you told the AI tool who you are or who it is? The task. Have you described the task in detail and been specific? The context. Have you explained exactly what you're trying to do with this output? For example, your goals. And finally, the format. What should the ideal format look like, and can you upload some sample training data? And then either iterate your prompt or iterate the output till you get something that works. And I found that when I have a few prompts that are working for me, I can go one step further and create a custom GPT. And that's something I cover in another video on the channel. If you have questions about prompt engineering, let me know in the comment section below this video.